Today's podcast is sponsored by Al and Dean's Artifact Shop. Al and Dean's stocks a wide range of the finest artifacts from enchanted swords to magic lamps. This week only they have a 2-for-1 offer on Excaliburs, Molyneux and Grails. Get on down to Al and Dean's for excellent deals on Elven Stars, Stormbreakers and Arkenstones. I bought a Palantir from them last month. It turns out that you also have to fork out for a 12-month subscription, or they're just useless glass balls. Alan Dean. Alan Dean. That sounds oddly familiar.
Hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news. As always, I am Rust, aka Morris. With me is my effervescent and iridescent companion, Peter Coffey.
Hello, Peter Coffey from the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers, here today for yet another exciting podcast where we bring you all the RPG news and talk.
And we have a guest this week.
We do. It's super exciting. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah. All the way from the US of A, we've got Wacksteven. Can I call you Wack?
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my domain of Zoom here. Welcome. I have dragged them kicking and screaming over to a different application for the meeting today because nothing was working.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're doing. So do you want to just quickly
There were technical teething difficulties. We resolved it with only minor bloodshed and the sacrifice of 3 cc's of mouse blood.
Do you want to just quickly tell people who you are, Wack?
Yeah,
Sure. So I am I guess I'm a professional dungeon master for all intents and purposes these days. I am a member of a group called Table Story. We create role-playing shows and content for live streaming.
Yes.
So before we get any further into this streaming stuff, what's caught your eye this week, Peter?
It's a bit of an oldie, but quite a goodie. There's a site called criticalhits.com, and they have a series of articles called Dungeonomics, written by a lady called Multiplexer. It's absolutely fantastic. What it is they take a standard trope from, say, D&D or Shadowrun, and then they explore the economic ramifications. So if you're moving a data center across country, but you can't afford to have it go through the fiber optics because people can intercept it, you pack a whole data center on. What's going to happen if you do that? What's the adventure seeds that come out of that? Or if you have flying castles, you follow it through from the creation of flying castles, how they affect trade routes, empire building, if you have your flying castles in the wrong place. Or one of my particular favourites is, so traditionally with monarchies, they become very vulnerable when power passes from king to heir. But in Dungeons & Dragons, we have raised dead.
That we do.
So why would any of your monarchs actually die? And it looks at what would happen there and the various things. I found that quite interesting. I've done my own little bit of world building as a result of it, which I call the Necroarchy of the Feathered Serpent. Which, if nothing else, is an awesome name. That's a good question,
though. Why would any D&D monarch die?
Precisely.
Why would he not just be raised straight away?
Run out of diamonds error, or has annoyed the wrong people.
It's a continuity error, that is.
It is a continuity error.
I think someone should write to Mike Merles right now.
Okay, I'll get on it.
Yeah. It sounds a bit sort of like Freakonomics.
Yeah.
It sounds like a D&D version of that.
Yeah, but it's based on more dungeons.
Yeah.
And like I say, they don't just do D&D, they do Shadowrun as well. And I found it very interesting. The Adventurers Cartel, the Transmuter Guild of Bankers, because you get as much gold as you want if you're Transmuter.
I guess.
You do. Anyway, what's caught your eye, mate?
Me? Oh, well, have you heard of this little thing called Critical Role?
Oh, Critical Role. Does that ring any bells with you, Wacksteven?
Well, considering that I mentioned it previously, I would go with a yes.
Have you heard of this place called London?
Yes.
You have heard of London?
It's in Alabama.
Yeah.
Unless... Well, I presume because Critical Role's in America. Why would I know anything?
Well, there's actually
one
several.
in Canada, isn't there?
Yeah, there's actually a few Londons in the U.S. So
yeah, there's a lot of Londons all over the place.
Wow, it's like London's had lots of little babies.
Yes.
Anyway, Critical Role are coming to London, as in the London, in
London, UK.
October. Woo-hoo. So the whole crew, that's Matt Mercer, Marisha Ray, and the whole crew, they're all coming over to the London MCM show at the XL. Ooh. Which is, where are we? October the 27th. Basically, it's the London Comic Con type thing. It's not as big as the US ones, but I've been to it a couple of times before. Yeah. It's kind of fun. Yeah, anyway, so Critical Role coming to London in October.
How exciting.
I'm planning on going to that. You coming to that?
If I get a chance. I'm surprised they've still got any tickets.
I think they've only just gone on sale, to be fair.
Ooh. Well,
so if we grab them quick, we can go.
Yes, and if you're listening to this on Wednesday, which we hope you are, then if you move quickly, you may still have a chance.
Yes. Well, what about you, Wack? What's caught your eye this week?
It's probably the new module that's been released for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Waterdeep Dragon Heist thing. I've seen a lot of really positive reviews coming out for it. It looks really interesting. I wish I had time to play it. It's difficult for me to really get into modules because they do take a while. I mean, I think that's it's an interesting thing. They come out so frequently, but like, is anyone actually able to finish one before the next one comes out?
I've only finished one, and that was Strahd. That's the only one I've done.
I finished Curse of Strahd as well. That was a show that I had, and that took us a good year.
It took us a good 9 months, tabletop. It was a lot.
Oh, I'm feeling embarrassed now.
Why?
We did it in 24 hours.
No, you didn't.
No, we did.
24 hours?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
The GM running for us probably had
missed most of it
times, and he did quite a lot of editing, and I think there was a lot less random encounters. We just kept on with the plot. And also we were fairly focused. We'd built for the module, but we just went through it. It was great.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty interested in it. I've done a campaign, like an urban campaign in Waterdeep before, and there's a lot of resources available for Waterdeep because it's the most popular. I think maybe Neverwinter might be a contender. But it's got a lot of resources available. It's a very interesting place. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of cool intrigue and stuff. So I'm pretty curious to see how it's all built out.
Through the adventure yet?
I haven't. No. I haven't purchased it.
Oh right, okay.
I've been reading a lot of things about it.
It's worth it. It is good.
Yeah, we did quite an extensive review of it in our last podcast. So if you want to know more about it, spoiler free, as close as I could get it, then that's a good one to listen to.
What I would say, it's my favourite. Second favourite, of the 5th edition modules. So Strahd is number 1. Then I think it's this.
Yeah.
Then I think it's Out of the Abyss. I like that one. Anyway, shall we do the news?
Yes. This will be an exciting opportunity for you to listen to the news. All the news in role-playing. What's happening?
Some of the news in role-playing.
Okay, fine. Some.
I was promised all of the news in roleplay.
All of it? Oh, wow.
Go.
All right, okay.
And all the news you shall have.
All of it starting now. Okay, so Wizards of the Coast.
Yes.
You've heard of them. They want you to help shape D&D.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a big survey on their website.
Feature more dungeons and more
when I
dragons.
say big, I mean big. I started to take it.
Yes.
And sort of half an hour later, I'm still there clicking through all these different questions and stuff. It's a really, really big, long survey.
In-depth, comprehensive, you say?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I did it as well.
Yeah, you've done it too, yeah. So they're basically looking at what people like about D&D, how they get into D&D, where they heard about D&D, what their sort of first experiences with D&D were, what they want to see more of, all that sort of stuff. So if you head on over there, we'll put the link in the show notes.
Yes,
it's a really good opportunity to sort of help shape where sort of Wizards go on a sort of more long-term basis.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
Well, amazing's a strong word.
Yeah. It sounds like a strong opportunity.
It's a survey.
It's a survey.
It's only so amazing you can get.
Okay, fine. Go on, get with it.
So, staying on D&D, D&D is going to the Barrier Peaks.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Barrier Peaks?
That's a no from me.
Okay then. So Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Yes.
It was an
I don't know what I don't know what it is.
Well, you're about to find out.
How exciting.
Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. So it was a AD&D first edition adventure by Gary Gygax.
Okay.
Back in 1980, I think. And it was kind of the first time that sort of science fiction interacted with D&D. So the setting is kind of a dungeon crawl, but the setting is a crashed spaceship. So you've got all these robots, blaster rifles, and all this sort of stuff. A karate robot as well, which is kind of fun.
Of course.
This is Stormjammer?
This is years before Spelljammer. This is long before that.
Goodness. Woo.
So it's like the first time sort of D&D and science fiction kind of mixed, and it was kind of a fun kind of thing. It was, it was a bit out there for the time. Wizards of the Coast, they do this Extra Life charity thing every year, which is a children's hospital charity. Often they do these big sort of long 24-hour live streams, and they do contests and all sorts of different things. Well, this year it looks like they're recreating the Barrier Peaks and the Barrier Peak Adventures, because they're asking for fan-submitted rumours based around the famed Barrier Peaks. They say, who can say what's true or false? But what strange rumours circulate around local taverns about these mysterious mountains in 150 words or less? So it sounds like they are putting together an adventure. They say it's going to go on the DM's Guild and on Dragon Plus, which is their electronic magazine, which covers D&D in all its different forms. Okay. And it looks like coming in the next few months, we're going to get another expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Ooh. That sounds very exciting.
And that is news.
There you go.
I told you there was news.
So, doing D&D on board a crashed spaceship. Can't ask for better than that now, can you? Well, actually, it might not be a crashed spaceship, but there might be something even more exciting in there.
I'm curious to see how it's going to be with, I'm assuming, characters that don't understand this technology venturing forth onto the spaceship. Well, I guess it's just
indistinguishable from magic, isn't it?
Old Arthur.
What's the difference between a ray gun and a wand that shoots a disintegration ray at you? It's it's the same thing.
Easier to use trigger.
Perception.
Yeah.
Also, we're sticking with D&D for the moment. Unearthed Arcana, which is playtest material that they release for D&D once every month, is covering dragon marks from Eberron.
Yes, I've heard of dragon marks, but I'm not 100% what they are.
So a dragon mark is a mystic sign that appears on your skin, and it's a source of magical power, and it gives you the ability to perform certain tasks. It's all down to the Lord of Eberron.
Yes.
And each mark is kind of related to a specific bloodline. So these families sort of have these bloodlines, and they form all these houses. I'm not a big expert on Eberron by any means. No. You can get the PDF from Wizard's site. It's about 8 pages long, I think. It's also material that appeared in Wayfarer's Guide to Eberron. So if you've already got that, it's probably not worth checking this out. But if you haven't got that yet, it's worth taking a
And this one's free to get.
This is free, yes.
Yes, which is a good price. I like it.
This is free. Right, what we got here? We have Gale Force 9 are releasing more accessories for D&D. Okay. There's a whole bunch of unpainted miniatures for Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Which are hitting hobby stores now and sort of mass market outlets on Tuesday the 18th. When is that?
Soon.
So you can get Vajra Sapphire, Manchoon, Alariel Silverhand, Black Viper, Mert the Moneylender, Jarlaxle, Orinax. Is that the dragon?
Jarlaxle's like...
Jarlaxle is the drow.
Orinax, I meant.
Orinax.
Orinax,
yeah, that... Oh, with an AU.
If you have an X in...
Yeah, Skull Dragon. Yeah.
And Xanathar, that's the Beholder.
Xanathar!
Yeah. Sorry. So the human-sized miniatures, they're going to be $10 each.
How big?
Xanathar is $20. And Orinax is... Oh, God, guess. Go on.
Oh, $40.
40. What do you reckon, Mac?
I would say 50.
$90. $90
How big is it?
for Orinax in dragon form. That's not cheap.
Do you have a picture?
There's no picture, no.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, it's like you say you have a giant dragon. Yeah.
It's probably really big compared to a regular miniature, but still that's a lot.
For $90, you'd hope so. Yeah,
I'm hoping for
that's Games Workshop regular miniature price.
Yeah, you just whack it on the table saying, "Yes, there's a dragon fight."
Have you seen the colossal red dragon that they released? Oh, it must have been like 10, 15 years ago, or whatever. But it's sort of it's sort of like 12 inches high. It's massive, great big thing. I've got it upstairs. It's fantastic. Nice. Sharon I keep putting it over there on the windowsill, down there next to the Daleks.
Yeah.
Sharon hates it, and she keeps moving it upstairs. It keeps coming up and down the stairs.
It's fair.
It's got this fire coming out of its mouth, which she insists looks like puke. Which I guess isn't a great look.
So you've got a dragon, it's had a couple of bevies, and now it's like going and calling it the God of Chunder all over the windowsill.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I can see why she might not be so keen, yeah?
Yeah. So also there's a DM screen, $15, specially created for the adventure. It fleshes out Waterdeep, a chart for items found while pickpocketing, a list of sensory details for various districts, including sounds and smells. See, I reckon they've missed a trick there. They should do like those scratch and sniff things.
Scratch and sniffs, yeah.
Okay,
that's
everyone,
exactly what I
have a
was
sniff of
thinking.
this. Oh, no, why would you do that? Oh, well, if you're going to go to the tannery district, that's on you.
This is the smell of a rotting corpse. There's also 2 large vinyl maps of Waterdeep.
Much
Nice.
like the ones from the book.
Well, there's one's a 20 by 40 inch map for $30.
Yeah.
The other is a map set, which is 7 different maps, each of them a different district.
Does it say who made them?
Yeah, this is Gale Force 9.
I'm curious of the actual artist, though, that made the maps.
Let me have a look.
Because I know that Mike Schley does a lot of the maps for Wizards of the Coast, so I'm curious if they got him or not.
I mean, certainly the ones from... I guess what they're doing is they're producing vinyl maps, so it's a lot easier to write on them.
It does not say no, but I am going to guess, because looking at it, it's the same as the map in the book. Interior cartographer, poster map, Jason Engel.
Jason Engel.
Okay.
There you go. Shall we move on from D&D
Okay.
to a mildly different flavour of D&D?
I can't help but notice that I can see Pathfinder on your tablet.
There is some Pathfinder playtest news.
Oh, Pathfinder, PF2. Have you been following that?
I haven't. I don't know, what changes they're going to make for second edition, though. I am curious to know.
The third playtest adventure is out. So we've had The Lost Star, and we've had In the Pale Mountain's Shadow.
Okay.
We now have an adventure for 7th level characters, and this one is called Affair at Somberfell Hall.
Affair at Somberfell Hall.
Affair. Not affair, but affair. So the latest Pathfinder Places update, it removes, you probably need to know the sort of rules in a bit more detail to follow this, but I'm sure some people listening do. Removes the signature skills restriction entirely. And it makes changes to pretty much the whole skill system to remove it.
Ooh, your editor Daryl here, haunting the podcast with this little note. Signature skills was a new mechanic where you picked skills at character creation that you could upgrade faster and further than other skills, and it served as prerequisites for some feats and other abilities. However, it also limited advancement to all other skills at higher levels, so by the time you get to about 7th level, you'd be locked out of increasing any of your other skills, and would be stuck with whatever you picked when you created the character. This rule has been removed, and the skill system adjusted. And if you don't get the haunting joke and the sound effects, you really should follow me on Twitter at Abstruse and Russ at Morris, and you would have gotten the conversation at the start of this joke.
And there's a big revamp of the death and dying rules, and another sort of a lot of small changes. But that's two big changes. So you can see that the playtest is actually having an effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, people are responding to the surveys, reporting on it, and things are getting changed. Sticking on Pathfinder, there is a new official SRD for both Pathfinder and Starfinder.
Oh, nice.
So an SRD is a systems reference document.
Yes.
Essentially, it contains the core rules of the game online.
Yes.
And it's mainly used as a tool for third-party developers,
Yes.
so that they know which rules and which materials they can access and use in their products.
But also...
Those are getting increasingly more important as time goes on.
Yes, I was going to ask, because obviously you do so much stuff online, it becomes a really valid choice, maybe even better than having a paper copy in front of you.
Well, it's interesting, because an SRD's purpose isn't for you to use it to play with online. But it's interesting that I think probably it's used more for that than it is for sort of third-party development, I would guess.
Well,
I would say that
nice man who's an expert on doing this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
we have a moderator for our channel.
Ooh, okay.
That's Kujio has put together basically different commands in our chat when we do shows to actually reference the SRD, so people can do exclamation point what spell and then like the name of the spell, and it will paste the spell into the chat for people that don't know. So if people don't have a book they can get the SRD information quickly.
And the channel is sort of like the sort of almost the chat room area where you play.
Yeah, it's a chat room.
Yeah.
It's going on live during the stream.
Okay, and so these mods have created things that let you quick reference the spells and so forth.
Yep.
Rules that you need to do. You just have to type it in.
Absolutely.
And that's largely due to the moderators that are working to support it. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and the SRD. I mean, the SRD is that the document that they're willing to, I guess, put out there with the rules. So I mean, that's a big deal.
Well, it certainly sounds
Those
like
are going to get more and more important.
It'd be a lot easier to look rules up then, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. SRD, like the first SRD was the D&D 3rd edition one, which was came out in 2000, 2001, whenever, back when the Open Gaming License launched.
Yeah, the OGL was huge.
And then you had the whole big D20 boom, where I wouldn't say thousands, but definitely hundreds of companies were producing D20 products just using the Open Game Licenses and the 3.x SRD.
Yes.
Of course, Pathfinder has one, Fate has one, I have one for what's sort of new. They're like
13th Age.
Yeah, loads and loads of games have SRDs now. D&D 5th edition obviously has one. They're a really, really common sort of web tool there, and they really are just so vital to the whole sort of third party development scene.
Absolutely, very important.
Yeah. Anyway, so this particular SRD, which is Pathfinder and Starfinder, can be found at Archives of Nethys.
Archives of Nethys.
Yeah, which is a website that Paizo has partnered with to sort of host these SRDs. I'll put a link in the show notes so people can find them. But that is now the official home of the Pathfinder SRD.
Yeah. Any idea when the Pathfinder playtest will be finished?
Sometime next year.
Okay.
I mean, the actual book comes out at Gen Con next year.
Fantastic.
So presumably they'll finish the playtest, sort of March-ish maybe, and then
only a couple of
months to go. Months lead time.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess.
Any other news that's come up?
I think that's most of the news. Daryl has something here about Fortnite.
Oh yes. That's.
I think this
is that actual computer games or is that?
Well, you see,
online role.
Well, as you know, Fortnite is a computer game, but there's an announcement from Hasbro and Epic Games about a licensing agreement for Fortnite. Which references?
Oh God!
Well, I'm not sure this is actually RPGs, but it says so. This is what it says.
No,
just one line
I know what Fortnite is. I mean, Fortnite is a battle royale game, basically.
But,
that's played.
Yeah. This line is buried in the announcement, so it's just one line, and it says the battle continues to build with an epic lineup of additional licensed games, role play, and Nerf Fortnite glasses and accessories debuting in 2019.
Wow!
Now, I think role play in that context just means kids dressing up. I don't think that means role-playing games. I mean, Daryl's kind of included that in the RPG news line. Maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking I reckon, Toys R Us style role-play rather than tabletop RPG style role-play.
I would be interested to see how it would work, but just on the face of it, a battle royale where it's all against all, last man standing sort of thing, I find it hard to think how a traditionally cooperatively based game would make that transition.
Well, it's really interesting that you bring that up because Mike Krahulik, who is one of the guys that does Penny Arcade, does Acquisitions Incorporated, he actually ran a Battle Royale Acquisitions Incorporated game in character. It was very, very funny. And he sort of created his own mechanics for it.
Really?
He created, he made some cards and loot and stuff like that, and he made people make rolls to see like perception checks and things. And all the while on the big screen for the crowd, the circle is constantly shrinking, and he says, "Don't worry about that. The whole time that the game is going on." And if you've ever played one of those games before, you know that you absolutely have to worry about that. That is important. And it was very funny. So I wonder if Hasbro and Fortnite saw something in their actual show that they had to bring about this interest. I'm curious.
That is it for the news.
Yes.
We are done for the news.
You've had all the role-playing game news, as promised.
Are you familiar with our favourite game in all the world, Wack?
No.
Right, so
you
it works
give
like
him
this.
the full title of it.
It works like this. I give you the name of a Kickstarter
Yes.
and nothing else. just its name. You then have to guess what that Kickstarter is. Then I give you a arbitrary yet very, very scientifically calculated number of points based on how accurate you are.
He says he's got spreadsheets.
So it's Kickstarter. Whose line is it anyway? Got it.
Yeah.
Precisely. There you go. That's a much better title than the one we have.
Okay then. So we are going to play our favourite game in all the world. Guess the Kickstarter from being told just the name.
Fantastic.
Are you
Lovely.
ready?
I was born ready. Let's do it.
Are you going to score better than you did last week?
Probably, but probably not as well as the week before.
Yeah. Listeners might be interesting to know that I appeared on the Shane Plays podcast.
Oh, yeah.
We recorded it on Saturday night, and I think it goes out next weekend. But he forced me to play this game just to find out what it feels like. So now I know just how horrible.
It's a great game. I love it.
Right. Anyway, so number one, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What is the North Sea Epilogues?
Ooh, that's really interesting. So, North Sea, for the geographically challenged, is large body of water just to the west of Scandinavia.
You're correct, but you get no points
and
for
to the
that.
north of UK. Yeah, I know, but I'm just like setting the scene, man. Setting the scene.
All right.
Buying myself time to
This is
think.
the flavor text.
Exactly, man. Fluff. Role-playing games wouldn't be as exciting without it. So, North Sea Epilogues. So it sounds like there's been something exciting happening in the North Sea. Is it an exciting game where you role-play oilmen from Aberdeen and that sort of point, exploring what you do with all these deserted oil rigs and decommissioned ones that have been left floating in the North Sea?
No, it is not.
Oh.
You score 2 points out of 12 for that.
Oh, fantastic.
Just for recognising what the North Sea was. So this is Vikings.
Okay.
Vikings, after raiding and exploring the North Sea
Yes.
with the acclaimed board game series, the time has come to journey deeper into the world as a Viking warrior in the North Sea Epilogues role-playing game.
So this is an RPG which is a spin-off of...
Yeah, got a picture of it here, look. So we got full colour, 150-page hardcover rulebook.
Uh-huh.
GM screen.
I like the
sheets.
GM screen. It's got a decent shield wall on it.
Yeah, if you want to be a Viking, this is the game for you.
So basically, you've played the board game, now play the RPG, and the two are supposed to be related in some way.
Yes, I'm not familiar with the board game, to be fair, but it says here, while you won't be fighting ice giants and other mythological creatures, your characters will probably believe in such beings.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, 2 points.
I'm sure it'll be amazing. It's like, play this game, you don't have to fight ice giants.
All right. Okay, 2 points out of 12. So, Whack, you want to try one?
Oh, you're up. Come on, you can do it. Ooh,
Oh,
we
sure.
believe in you. Yeah.
All right.
We're breaking format. I thought he was doing two.
Well, I
guess I'll chime in next.
We can alternate.
That's fine.
We can
No,
alternate.
it's fine, Russ. We'll just go now.
I'm just going to find the hardest one I can now, Whack. Just for...
Excellent. Let's do this.
Oh, he's saving his hardest for you. Your luck's in, my friend.
This might not be as hard as I'd like, but it's quite interesting, so we'll go with this one.
Time for
Okay,
the sex
Whack.
tape. Sorry.
There you go.
What is the Rockopolis RPG?
The Rockoculus RPG is an
Rockopolis. R-O-C-K-O-P. Rockopolis.
So that sounds
Like Metropolis, but rockier.
Yeah, that sounds like it sounds like some sort of, this has to be with Rockstars. This has to be like a Rockstar based RPG where you can probably determine things like what genre of Rockstar you want to become. That might be like where the classes are, what kind of Rockstar. Like they probably have like hair metal and like the death metal and those kinds of things. Yeah, absolutely. And
I think
I feel
we can
like you
safely
can
say that Whack is better at this game than you are, Peter.
Oh, certainly.
This is feeling like a thing where you can get groupies, and I feel like this is a your costume is obviously very important. How long of a riff you can have whenever you're performing an action, maybe something along those lines.
I just cut once he said you've done well, because otherwise you just go off and he's like starts deducting points according to his entirely reasonable and fair spreadsheet. Entirely reasonable.
Okay, so Whack, you are entirely correct.
Hey.
You get 1,000,000 points out of 10,
Wow.
which puts you how many points ahead of Peter?
Ooh,
999,998 points ahead of you. Rockopolis is an awesome role-playing game where the stage is your dungeon. You will face rival bands instead of goblins and trolls. Your instruments, voice, and stage appearance will be your weapons.
I think that's a trick miss there. You should be facing rival bands consisting of goblins and trolls. I'd love to hear troll music. It's got rocks in.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you're actually making an assumption that trolls and goblins could not make a rock band, which is just poor on your thinking there.
I know, shocking. But it did say that you wouldn't be facing goblins and trolls, but instead of the musicians, I'm like, yeah, we should go for both. There's no need.
You don't know, they could be dressing up. They have costumes too.
Exactly. How exciting! But that'd be awful though. It'd be like Greenface or something. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's terrible.
All right, Peter.
Yes.
All right, this one.
Go on.
Dystopia Rising.
Dystopia Rising.
Dystopia Rising : Evolution. More specifically.
At this point, gentle reader, listener, we'll have a 5-minute wait for Wack to fall off his chair laughing break, which I think is reasonable.
He's easily entertained.
He is easily entertained. And isn't that just a virtue in more of our listeners? I think.
I guess. Go on.
Dystopia Rising. Okay, Dystopia Rising.
You can do this.
Evolution.
Evolution.
I'm thinking it is a sequel of some description.
May I clarify that the colon is a colon, not the word colon. This is not a game about digestive systems.
What an affair.
You may think this is.
I think it was only fair that I clarified that, just in case.
I appreciate the clarity.
I do actually like the idea of the game Evolution.
I just like to point out this is.
That's what made me laugh. I was assuming it was that.
Just so you're aware, this is my judgmental face. This isn't my judgmental face. This is my disappointed face. Anyway,
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
There you go. Now you got it.
Go on. What is it?
So Dystopia Evolution. It is a sequel to the original Dystopia Rising. Dystopia Rising : Evolution is a sequel to Dystopia Rising, and it's all about the collapse of world order. The center cannot hold. The whirling gyre of chaos. You've got your crash into dystopia, and then it's like following this into how it rises, and you start forming a new society. And we've got evolution. So I'm guessing this is the expansion book, which includes like new evolved races, maybe getting new more magic or exciting new technologies and so forth. So yeah, that's what I reckon.
Not bad. I will give you 999,997 points for that.
Yes, back in the game.
Which puts you exactly 1 point behind Wag.
Really?
Coincidentally.
Who would have seen that?
So it's the latest edition of the Dystopia Rising tabletop RPG, as you correctly observed, which is apparently, it says, very popular on the live action circuit. Have you heard of it, Wag?
The live action
No,
circuit?
I haven't. Not at all.
It's an Onyx Path game.
Oh, okay.
D10 dice ball game.
Mm-hmm.
So you play as a survivor in the post-apocalypse. There are rules for creating characters for up to 24 different strains, which are variations on humanity who survived the fall.
Interesting.
When I heard the name, I had immediately associated it with a sort of pandemic kind of vibe. So it's interesting.
I think this is. Yeah, it says nuclear radiation and undead is the kind of theme here.
At least you don't have any problem seeing the zombies when they come through at night. They'll be glowing in the dark.
Yeah, that helps, I guess.
Nuclear-powered skeletons.
Nuclear annihilation and zombies. Well, I suppose it's not proper annihilation if you've still got zombies. Bit half-hearted, really, if you ask me. Yeah.
I wonder if they're faster since they're nuclear-powered.
Ooh. Well, they just keep going longer.
Yeah. What are you? Are you a fan of the fast zombie or the slow zombie?
I'm a fan of no zombies.
Oh, good.
I hate
good.
zombies.
Good. I hate zombies too. I am so
so
sick of zombies.
Hey, you leave the vitally challenged out.
I don't understand why they're so popular.
it's beyond overdone, and I feel like it's the same thing every single time.
Thank you. I'm not alone in this. Thank you.
I did recently read The Girl with All the Gifts, which is probably one of the more interesting takes on zombies that I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are both fast and sometimes intelligent. Yeah.
Okay.
For reasons.
This is the face of someone who doesn't care.
By Jove, I think he's right. That is also the face of someone who doesn't care.
You've got the wrong audience here.
Oh, Carey, great book.
Right, last one. Last one. And this is one for Wack.
Wait, don't
Wack, you only need to score 2 points in order to win. What is Jungle Tomb of the Mummy Bride?
Jungle Tomb of the Mummy Bride is obviously a very campy look at, I would say, the sort of old, like 1950s, 1960s mummy action sort of role-playing game. They are sort of taking a very adventure-y kind of approach to role-playing, where you probably do some tomb robbing and such, and you are being chased by some sort of ancient mummy curse thing.
Well, I am going to give you 3 points out of 3 for that. It's a 5th edition adventure. Ooh. Character levels 5 to 7. Old school, grindhouse style combination of classic role-playing adventures and devilishly designed dungeons, cram-packed with B-movie goodness to challenge even the most seasoned of adventurers. It's basically exactly what you said, Wack.
Indeed.
It feels like a hot take on Tomb of Annihilation. I mean, that's kind of what it's feeling
more
like, just with a mummy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Unless it's South American themed. Is it South American themed?
I don't know. I've scrolled away from it.
Well, it did say the Jungle Tomb.
Oh, I did miss that. So yes, that won't be Egyptian then.
Okay. So I think I can officially declare Wack the winner of our favourite game.
Hooray!
Bravo. I look forward to having you on again for a rematch.
So how do you feel about that, Peter?
Same as I always feel. Excited to have been here.
All right.
Greetings, Malach here, the star of... Yes, one of the stars of the Perturbed Dragon. You there, start playing. I suppose that will do. Oh, listen, poor fools, to the tale of my fight against small-minded dolts who rose against me one night. Against them I stood to defend my rights, and I fought to the end with all of my might. You must choose your side for the edition wars, but make sure it's mine, or pain will be yours. I'm telling you fools, the new is supreme, the old is the past, it's just a bad dream. Against you I stand as I forge my regime, while your pitiful cries rage against the machine. The game that you choose is serious business, but make the wrong choice, there can be no forgiveness. You must choose your side in the edition war, but if it's not mine, then I'll give you what for. Edition's the same. You old farts don't count. Your edition is lame. You must choose your side for the edition. sure it's mine, or pain will be yours. You must choose your side in the edition war. But if it's not mine, then I'll give you what for. You must choose your side on the edition wars. But make sure it's mine, or pain will be
Okay, so we are here now. We're going to do our topic of the week, which is all about live streaming.
Live stream.
Live streaming being when a group of role-playing gamers, often D&D players, will play a game over the internet using a variety of tools. And we have our special guest Wacksteven here, who is a seasoned live streamer.
It's more than that, Russ. He's a professional.
A professional seasoned live streamer.
I know.
How many different game systems have you live streamed now, Wack?
A lot.
I know you've done D&D. I know you've done What's Old Is New.
Okay, so Pathfinder, D&D, What's Old Is New, specifically NEW and OLD.
Soon to be Judge Red.
Apocalypse World.
Harry Dresden Files.
Masks. I've done the Dresden Files, yes. So Fate, that's Fate. Or, oh God, what was the cyberpunk one that I just did?
Shadowrun?
No. I've done Shadowrun, though. That's another one.
Yeah.
I've done a Dungeon World hack of Shadowrun.
Ooh, nice.
Which was great. And, oh God, The Sprawl.
The Sprawl. Ah, yes.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that?
It's only recently happened to me that I have sort of become a professional DM. I've only been role-playing for about 5 years, believe it or not. But in those 5 years, I've accumulated about 7,500 hours, according to Roll20.
7,500 hours. Get in.
Yeah. That's 7,500 hours.
Is that how you got your start then, on Roll20?
It is. I was a broadcaster for a few years back in the day, about 2003 to 2006 or so. I was a broadcaster covering esports.
Things like not World of Warcraft, StarCraft, that sort of jazz.
StarCraft and Warcraft, those were kind of my games. Then I kind of fell out of it. About 2010, I started up a show with a guy named DJ Wheat. Who's a pretty famous Twitch guy, been my friend for a long time, and we did a StarCraft 2 show for a while. Ooh. And we did that for a few years. I eventually started to watch some role-playing content online.
Yeah.
And I'd always had like a certain
a stereotype.
Opinion. Yeah, a stereotype.
A negative stereotype.
It's a negative
I'm getting
stereotype.
that sort of vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we talking basements here? Is this what we're...
Yeah, like, I guess it was that. And it's hilarious because it's not like I wasn't a nerd before, the stereotype that's associated with role-playing. So it was just funny. I don't know why I never did it, because it's got all of the things that I love to do. It makes no sense. It was just a lack of information and education on the thing. So I watched it, and I was like, I can't believe I've never done this before. This is silly. This is all of the things that I like to do. For me, it was just a matter of finding people to do it with, and Roll20 gave me an opportunity to do that.
Your show might have been the first one I really started following, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was, I'd heard of Critical Role, but I hadn't really spent much time watching it. Because, it's like 4 hours, isn't it? You're gonna find 4 hours to sit and watch it, whereas...
It's a lot different when you're playing for 4 hours than when you're watching for 4 hours.
Sure, yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When you're playing, time just goes bam, 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 away. Yeah. But I imagine sitting there watching it, it could go on for quite a long time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I discovered the way for me to sort of consume this stuff was audio only. So
yes.
You put it on a podcast, and then when I'm walking the dog or when I'm, driving, whatever, you can just stick it on, and you can be doing something else. Whereas for a video, you have to pay attention, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, are there any podcasts or series that you follow, or is your time just taken with producing it?
A lot of my time is taken up producing shows, but I do try to catch Critical Role pretty much every week. It's usually half of an episode live, and then I try and catch the rest when they upload it to YouTube or something. As far as podcasts go, I think most of the time when I'm listening to things on my phone, it's usually an audiobook.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Audiobook's amazing.
Yeah. I always find, though, when I get an audiobook, because I listen to, I reckon, probably a dozen podcasts in total. Loads of them.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm quite into podcasts, but
he's super into
mainly
podcasts.
not RPG ones, to be fair. It's all sorts of stuff. But
Yeah.
I tend to find you get an audiobook, suddenly that takes sort of 14 to sort of 20 hours out of your week. And then suddenly you're 3 weeks behind on all of your podcasts. So what would you say? Because there's all these different systems. What makes a good system for a live streamer?
I think a good system for a live streamer is one that does not require a lot of looking up of rules. I mean, any DM knows you can only get so prepared for something. I mean, even Chris Perkins doesn't know the D&D rule books in its entirety. He can't quote you a spell. You know, he's looking stuff up all the time, and he wrote the system.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, the thing you want to do the least when you're live streaming is have a lot of dead air, or just sit there and look up rules.
Yeah, there's nothing more boring, I think, than just watching someone else read a book.
Yeah, it's a lot different than a tabletop scenario. You're not feeling that pressure to produce something entertaining.
Sure, yeah.
You know, people at the table are munching on snacks, they're just relaxing and, you know, having a good time just playing their characters. When you're doing a show, you're trying to entertain people. So the less time that you commit to dead air, basically, the better. So systems that support that are, in my opinion, the best to stream. You know, I've done a lot of these powered by the apocalypse systems in the last year or so, and I find that they're really good for streaming in general because they're pretty rules light.
Yeah, 2D6.
And this edition of D&D,
tags.
especially, I've heard from a lot of people, is just ideal for live streaming.
Yeah, D&D 5th edition. And that's partly because I just know it so well.
Yeah.
It's very easy to come up with stuff on the fly. People do bash you as soon as you get a rule wrong. There is like a lot of comments where people are like, well, you should have done that. And you don't have time
No.
a lot of times when you're on a show. You just have to keep pushing forward. You don't have time to sit there and make sure that your ruling is accurate.
Do you tend to find, because when I'm running a game, obviously it's in a tabletop kind of dining room situation, and the only sort of considerations on my mind are the people sitting around the table. But for you, presumably, you've got an additional consideration. You've got the audience. Is that more important than the people sitting around the table, or what's the balance there?
It's a very difficult balance, honestly. The primary concern is the audience, and it's important, I think, as the producer and the DM to let the players know that, you know, like they generally are aware that the audience is the primary concern, but just reinforcing it never hurts, you know, just to make them feel they are valued as players. And, you know, I always try and go out of my way to make sure that I tell them that they're appreciated for playing in every game. But yeah, the audience is the primary concern. We're trying to put on a show. We're not playing a private game.
Sure. Presumably at times you have situations where maybe sort of at a tabletop environment, there might be a bit of dead space. People might stop for a bit. You know, you can't do that while people are watching. So if you have sort of techniques that you use to make sure things keep moving, there's always something to watch.
First and foremost is a schedule, basically. We have a scheduled break time that everyone's aware of. There are times when, you know, you have emergencies or whatever, you have to go away from the screen, and that stuff happens. There's no real getting around that. But, you know, if you have a scheduled break everybody's aware of, then they can sort of plan their time a little bit, and it makes things easier. I think that's the primary one. Other techniques, really, to keep the things moving along is to be cognizant of the time. You know, just being aware of the time. I have a few ways that I do that. First of all, I have a lot of computer monitors, number one. I have 3 monitors that I have going all the time.
Right.
One of which has my production stuff. It's got my OBS streaming application that's running that shows me what's going on while I'm producing.
I've heard you say that before, OBS. What's OBS?
It's Open Broadcaster Studio. I can't remember what.
But it's a software It's a streaming software.
It's a streaming software to send the stream to Twitch, and it has my scenes that I use to switch between for various sections of the show. Because I have different overlays for stuff, which has like one that has the map in a big area of the screen, so people can see the map that I'm looking at, with player cameras, and they vary. You know, that depends on what we're trying to do with the production for the show. All shows aren't necessarily produced the same way.
Oh, absolutely. I was about to comment on that. In your shows in particular, I've noticed are sort of very well produced. I mean, for example, you're sitting in front of a green screen right now, as I can see.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of shows don't do anything like that. They don't make that much effort or have that much preparation going on.
I like doing the work sometimes. It's enjoyable for me.
But it's basically a full-time thing for you now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a full-time thing.
How many hours?
I like,
how many hours a day do you put into this? Just the prep side of it. I mean, not the stream.
It really depends. Obviously, before any new show that happens, there's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, I'll give you an example. It varies based on the show. Some shows require more theater of the mind than others. Some require a lot of graphical stuff. For my D&D show that I had, the 7th Eon, it was all homebrew. And, you know, we used the supplement that you put out, Russ, The Touch of Class.
Yeah.
It was very homebrew heavy. I spent 200+ hours on the map, on the world map for that.
Wow, that's like 5 working weeks more. That's
it was at least 200 hours on the world map.
That's an immense investment. Are you going to reuse it at any point, or?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So how would you suggest someone broach the? What am I trying to say?
How would someone get into it?
How would you get get started? Is what I was trying to say.
Send the greasy pole. Yes.
So I think the thing to recommend to people that are interested in starting this, number one, is to realize you're going to have to do this part-time to start. You can't you're not going to start this up and just suddenly start making money doing this. It's not going to happen. So recognize that point. You're going to have to do it part-time. There's a learning curve, a big one. You're going to have to realize what's involved in producing a show, okay, and making something that's entertaining. There's a big difference between taking your tabletop game and putting it online and just hitting record, as opposed to creating and producing a high-quality show.
For a live stream, what's the maximum number of players you'd run for? And conversely, what's the minimum?
It depends on the game.
Yeah.
It really does. I would say for me, the very minimum is 3. The favorite number is based on the game. I like 5.
Okay.
Personally, I like 5 players, primarily because it's an odd number. I like there to be a little bit of contention going on. I like there to be a little bit of instability happening. I think it makes things a little interesting. Not necessarily combative, but there's a little contention when you have an odd number of people together.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as a tabletop, really. That's the ideal number. So what are you running at the moment, then? Do you want to plug some of your stuff? How many shows? You just finished a couple, haven't you, as well?
So, yeah, I just finished a couple. Right now, I'm running 2, and a third one was just recently announced. I'm running a Masks role-playing game on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. We're finding is just absolutely so much fun. We're having a ridiculous amount of fun with that system. And then we're doing Warped on Saturdays, which is Russ's horrible mistake. I mean, he sponsors us.
Sure.
I'm still listening. So.
It's we're going to be wrapping up Warped soon. That's going to probably be wrapping by like the end of the month or so. And I just announced a show that's going to be on Sundays. That's going to be starting up at the end of September. D&D 5th edition. It's called Spark of Eternity. And then we've got other stuff in the pipe. I've got more stuff on the way. It's a lot of work. But I enjoy it.
Okay, why don't we take a quick break and just listen to a quick clip from one of your shows? This clip is from the 7th Eon, one of your D&D 5th edition shows.
You can see basically like at the end of the block, there's just like a small pub. Looks like there's a few people sort of milling about.
I'm getting in there. I'm running in there.
Okay, you're running as fast as you can. as you do this, an arm comes out from one of the alleyways, and you see like a cloak just kind of like envelop you and just grab you.
I'm gonna start screaming.
A hand comes
Trying
over
to-
your mouth. Give me an acrobatics check.
Oh no.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're trying to like wiggle out, but whatever it is, it has your mouth kind of covered, and you're sort of covered by this cloak. You can't see anything. You're just trying to, and you hear this like sound behind your ear. It says, "Quiet, girl. You don't want to let it know where you are. It's hunting you."
I go silent, and I just like stand still.
You see this shape move past the alley, and it's just like this ball of hair. You can't even really see it. You're in this alley, and it's dark, running past this big shape, hairy and gross, yeah, it's you just like peek out from like a little bit of the cloak, and you see this thing like run past. Shortly after, you hear some screams coming from the end of the alley, or from down the street.
Oh no.
And meanwhile, back at the library.
Hello, your editor Daryl here. As to be expected, there was a lot more to this discussion that could fit in the main episode. Well, it's a good thing we have a deleted scenes episode on our Patreon at patreon.com/Morrus. If you want to learn more about starting your own live stream, the difference between finding a group and casting an RPG show, how to monetize and create revenue streams, voice acting tips, and a lot more content that just couldn't make it into the main show, the new deleted scenes episodes go up the day after the podcast does. Also, you'll get access to all our previous deleted scenes episodes, some of which rival the length of a normal episode. In fact, this week's is probably going to be over half an hour long. All that and more is over at patreon.com/Morrus. That's MORRUS. And remember, your support makes this show possible.
So, the competition last week
Yes.
was, do you remember?
The question was, what is the place where Malach the Maleficent, the well-known, deeply malevolent sorcerer, where does he hold his press jackets?
Correct.
And the correct answer was the Perturbed Dragon.
Yeah, so the prize for this contest was a copy of D&D Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and we have got 6 entries.
Woohoo! D6!
We got one from Carl White. It says, "Hi guys, for some reason that entirely escapes me,
Yes.
journalists seem to keep going back to the Perturbed Dragon Tavern to get themselves blasted into ash by a malignant narcissist in chief and all-round psychotic Malach the Maleficent." I still can't say that word. Maleficent. Please keep the show coming. It's a weekly pleasure.
Thanks for listening, Carl.
That is correct, Carl. We have Ian with no second name.
Bum, bum, bum.
Just one name. It's like Cher or Madonna. It's
Ian
just-
the Mysterious.
just Ian. Hi guys, the location is the Perturbed Dragon Tavern, site of the notorious reporter Slaughter. I am new
Thanks
to the
for listening.
podcast, and I am enjoying the variety of topics and ongoing machinations of Malach the Maleficent. I've just realised that having this competition means I've got to say Maleficent repeatedly.
Just call him Malach. You're on first name,
Just
Sam.
Malach, yeah.
He's disintegrated you at least once. I mean, if that doesn't form a bond between people, I don't know what does.
Okay. We have David Capper.
Thanks for listening, David.
This is truly hilarious. I suspected this would be the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. Keep up the good work, David from Berlin.
Ooh, gotcha. Thanks for listening.
Stefan Lurbeck.
Hey.
Hey, love the podcast. Answer the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. Correct.
I like
Brief
it.
and
Pithy.
Mark Rosenthal.
Hey, hi, Mark.
Thal. Greetings, Russ and Peter. Malach the Maleficent prefers to give interviews from the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. I imagine the staff would prefer it if he went elsewhere. Cleaning up after him is such a chore. All the best.
Fantastic.
Andrew Winterburn.
And thanks for listening, Andrew.
Dear Russ and Peter, tempted by the Waterdeep Dragon Heist prize, which, while clearly not as tempting as Judge Dredd, is pretty cool. Here goes at identifying where Malach the Maleficent's press junkets take place. I believe they take place at the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. Keep up the great work, Andrew Winterburn, temporary floating off the Great Barrier Reef, like you do.
Fantastic. Wow, I'm really impressed. That's a really wide-ranging
So
set
is he
of
listening
listeners.
to our podcast while floating off the Great Barrier Reef?
Well, like we were saying, it's like Great Barrier Reef, brilliant visuals, not so much for the sound. So, yeah, dodge a great white, see some coral, listen and get all the latest fix of RPG news. I must recommend it. I mean, that sounds like something you do, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, on my yacht.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, on your yacht.
With all that live streaming, all those live streaming riches you've got pouring in.
Well, that's why he's got the green background, because we can't see he's on his yacht.
He's just hiding the pile of gold.
He takes that down, and it's actually a porthole behind him.
So the last entry is Baz Stevens. Malach runs his press conferences out of the Snug in the Perturbed Dragon. What's a Snug?
Snug's like a little place where you sit with your mates.
Yeah.
I'll put one out next time we're at the pub.
I don't have a Snug.
Thanks for listening, Baz.
Surely
Need to have a little cooch in the snug.
Surely the one thing you never want to see perturbed. What's the story there? That's a good question, Baz. Well, the answer to that question is about 4 or 5 years ago, my brother and I decided to make an animated sort of D&D themed show. So it's a cartoon. Each episode is about 5 minutes long. It's online. It's on YouTube, and it's even got its own website and stuff. So we got a bunch of voice actors, mainly from the US, and they played this group of friends who they were fantasy characters. So Malach the Maleficent was one of them. There was Eric the Knight. There's a whole bunch of them, and they were all playing this role-playing game in the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. And the role-playing game they were playing was called Real Life. And they'd role-play through these things where they had to try and apply for a driving license or go to the supermarket or all these kind of weird, exotic sort of, fantasy activities that would never happen in the...
Absolutely, totally unrealistic. You see
yeah,
the size of those cues? You just cast Fireball, cut straight to the front.
Yeah. So we did, I think it was like 6 episodes of that.
Back to the competition.
Yeah.
Back to the competition.
Well, he asked, I answered.
Indeed. Question asked and answered. I hope you're happy, Baz.
Anyway,
thanks for listening.
He says, great cast, guys. Thanks for doing it. Baz Stevens of the Smart Party podcast, which I am appearing on Tuesday, the 18th of September at 8:30 p.m, which
That's
is
tomorrow or yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Or maybe sometime quite considerably in the past, if you're catching up on our archived episodes.
Right.
In which case, thanks again for listening.
So, do you want to roll a d6 to see who won?
In fact, what I thought I'd do is, has we got Wacksteven here, and he's probably got some sort of polyhedra, or like, have you got...
Dice?
What do you... Hey, he's got proper hardcore dice.
Oh,
Good
no.
man.
So, counting from Baz backwards, we're going to roll a d6, Wacken.
Which color dice?
What have we
shall I
got? What
roll?
have we got?
I have black, I have
Yep.
blue,
Red.
green, orange, purple, white, black, pink.
Pink.
Pink. It has to be pink.
Absolutely. We need pinkest dice.
Okay, I have 2 different.
Hot pink. The hottest pink you have.
I
sir.
will. The hottest pink I've got. Okay,
There
got
we
it.
go.
4.
For that is Stefan. Stefan Lerbeck is the winner of the competition this week. So, Stefan, email me at morruspodcast@gmail.com and give me your address, and I will get that book straight out to you.
Congratulations. Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Healthy celebrations. I'm sure.
Okay, and I think that's probably it for this week.
Absolutely.
So, yes, thank you so much for coming on, Wack.
Yes.
It was a blast.
Thank you for having me.
That is it. Thank you, everybody, for listening this week.
Yes.
We do our best to try and entertain you. We're not very good at it, but, we struggle by.
I like to think there might have been a slight increment of knowledge as opposed to the usual detriment, so I'm feeling good.
So, it is goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me as well. Goodbye.
That was the best podcast yet. No, I'm just joking. It was awful. The dog that was howling outside my bedroom window last night would have done a better job. I'm considering swapping Russ and Peter's heads just to see what will happen. Do let me know next week if you notice any difference.